Hi, I'm Carrie Mitchell. I'm the PR director here at Beverly Wilshire.
I'm Christine Kirk. I am the founder and CEO of Social Muse Communications. I offer PR and social media marketing services to luxury brands, luxury hospitality brands, spa, lifestyle, and then I'm also the founder of a popular chat on Twitter called Lux Chat, which discusses the intersection of luxury brands and social media.
Okay, Kathleen Dauber with HBA Design. We design hospitality projects that numerous times have spas integrated into the design in addition to some standalone designs. And we utilize social media to promote them, to recruit in-house, and to get kind of our design message across on spa projects.
Melinda Milner, and I'm a spa consultant. Prior to this, I was a spa director, so been in the operation for many years previous to being a consultant, and I currently work with clients in Carmel, Santa Barbara, and locally down in Manhattan Beach where I live.
And I was just going to make as a note, I'm sure you all saw, but on your seats there's Wi-Fi codes and stuff in case you need internet for anything. And just a quick note too, here at Beverly Wilshire, we're actually #1 in all of Four Seasons in terms of Twitter and Instagram, so we're extremely active, especially with our spa, which is a big part of what we do on a daily basis. So excited to talk to you about that today.
Great. And definitely want to encourage you during the discussion, if you have a question or you have a comment or something you just want to, if you on Twitter, Instagram, feel free to take pictures. Use our hashtag. It's SMWLA Spa. So Social Media Week LA Spa. And we definitely want to give shout outs to the Beverly Wilshire too for everything. It's just so beautiful and wonderful, everything they're doing, and for the room. Just couldn't ask for a better setup and setting. So anyway, I think one of the first things, I'm just really curious about how many of you guys follow spas in any of your social media accounts? So kind of half and half. So why do you follow spas? Anybody have anything they want to add, like why you would follow one? Deals, discounts, or?
Well, we're a supplier of our product, so just to see what they're doing, like see if they're doing events, and just kind of follow just to stay active with them.
Okay, so to connect with them.
Yeah,
And
connect
that'd
with
be
them
a
and
B2B.
just, see what they're doing,
Okay.
see what they like to do. So.
Okay, that's great. Anybody else? No? Okay, so first, we wanted to talk about, kind of give an overview of the spa industry. Christine, this would be great for you, especially. How many spas that you know of, especially since you're in the luxury industry, are using social media?
Not as many as there should be, just to be really honest. And there's a lot of spas out there who have Twitter accounts or Facebook pages, but they're updated like twice a month, which does not a social media strategy make. So, so I always like to say it's not a matter of if brands should be doing social media, it's a matter of how. And I think that's really the message of this whole panel is how to make your presence stronger and better, and to take advantage of the online audience to the best that you can. And I don't think, again, well, maybe a lot of spas have the page up, they're not really utilizing it in the way that they should be.
Yeah, I think consistency is definitely key. Just like you said, some people throw up an account and then they don't bother to interact with people or keep it consistent. You should always be consistent in terms of maybe you have certain days where you're always giving certain deals or talking about something happening at your spa, like a Wellness Wednesday, just having consistency of new content every day and interacting with people that you want, either the clients in your spa or other companies you want it affiliated with, but really keeping a constant conversation online so it doesn't die out, because you're just not gonna be relevant.
And sometimes the social networks will actually help dictate, as Carrie said, what you can talk about on each day, with different hashtags, different chats that are taking place, like a Wellness Wednesday. There's a Travel Tuesday, which so you can reach people who are maybe coming to your city or to your destination by using that hashtag Travel Tuesday. There's Wine Wednesday and Thirsty Thursday, and you can do all kinds of things like that. So you can actually use the social networks once you become familiar with them to help dictate what your social media calendar is going to look like for the week.
as a spa designer, do you have people ever asking you can we incorporate some kind of social media presence in our environment at all?
Yes, very few though, but they are starting to integrate it into their environment. Usually the spas we try to detach from the media, so there's places that we'd want to put it in kind of like the beginning and the entrance experience, but once you get into it, to separate it from the presence of the spa.
And Melinda, what about you? When you have new clients as a consultant, do they ask you?
I think echoing what these two ladies said down here, it's very much about consistency, and just having it isn't enough. That's probably the biggest thing that I see with most of the clients that I've worked with is just that it's there, but then they're not doing enough with it, and it's just kind of it's a great idea, and I think that a lot of times, and I'll just say this as somebody who was an operator, was that getting that support from your PR team, whether it's in the actual hotel that you work in, or if you have a PR firm that you work with as a spa, because as a spa director, I used to think I can do it, because I'm good at social media or I like social media, but that's not necessarily the case. So I think always trying to let the experts help you out, and you're definitely going to be able to help give content and have some control, but I think to really make sure that you don't, you have a business to run. So that's probably my biggest advice.
Yeah, there's definitely marketing strategy behind everything. I think that's the difference between some people thinking that it's just all, on the fly messaging versus like having some kind of outline calendar and strategy.
Exactly.
Because social media in general is always three components. It's being social, so engaging and having conversations with people, whether it's customer service or reaching out to people and talking, having that online discussion. Curation, so you're the expert. If you're a spa, then you're sharing what you're an expert at, whether they're your products or things tips that you're giving. People are looking to you for that kind of thing. And promotion, because I always liken it, you don't want to be all promotion all the time, because nobody likes somebody that walks into a room and like talks one direction and then doesn't care what you're saying back, like that person would be kicked out of the room. So it's got to be a two-way conversation. So you're sharing tips, you're sharing specials, and you're having a conversation. It's always important to make sure those are well balanced, or else you're going to lose interest very quickly.
I think that all too often, if I can just continue with that, I think all too often that we think about social media only when we need to get the word out. Only when, well, did we put this on Facebook, or do we, when we're starting to see our business slide, or we're starting to, did this go out? And I agree, it's more than just the specials and the promotions and trying to get the word out on whatever it is you're trying to sell, whether it be a special or a program or class or something, but to keep it daily and.
Well, because people online don't want to have a conversation with a logo. They want to have a conversation with another person. So even though you're a brand on social media, you want to be as conversational and sort of humanize your brand as much as possible. And as Carrie was saying, if you walked into a room and all you did was talk about yourself, it would get really boring really fast, and no one would ever call you or follow up with you or anything like that. So it takes time, and it's building relationships and with your audience and with prospective customers, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of investment of being interested in what they're interested in, and keeping connected with them. But yeah, I think it's not just about presenting yourself as a brand. You need to kind of find out who your brand's personality is, like you would a character in a story or in a book.
Yeah, definitely. And taking the time as far as, again, like that planning is really the digital PR component. So maybe you put together a list of either brands that you're working with or that you'd like to work with, or people in the industry that you're interested in that you'd like to come through your door, or just like I call online flirting with, that you want to start a conversation. Because I honestly, sometimes I'll get a faster response after tweeting somebody directly than I will sometimes sending an email, because it's more immediate. So you'll be shocked at how much you'll hear something back from somebody sometimes faster than sending them some long-winded email. Maybe you send them a one-line, or invite them in, or let them know that something's happening. People really, really like that. It's not invasive, as long as you're not spamming them and hitting them with the same message a bunch of times.
And so what spas do you guys think are doing a really good job of this at the moment?
I'm not saying it just because she's sitting here, but honestly, no, Beverly Wilshire does a great job.
We keep up with a lot of activity here, again, because we have the #1 Twitter and Instagram numbers here, and both myself and my coordinator are sitting over there, Kirsten Dunn. It's very important to us to keep involved personally, again, with the companies that we work with, so Natura Bissé, everybody who's in-house, and our spa, but also getting a lot of content from people that work there. So not having them share things directly, online, because we are the only ones that have access, but as a filter, if they've seen something great, if they have a photo of something interesting, an opportunity that we can get some kind of content to push out, video, photos, tips, special, that's the stuff that we have to collect from people on the ground in the spa, so we make sure that we're pushing out things that are relevant and current. It's kind of like running on a treadmill, but it does pay off, and I feel like the conversations we get, we've had people come into the spa because of something they've seen on Instagram. We've had people come into the spa because of a special we put on Facebook. I mean, it's always looking for those new avenues. Certainly people use email to send out offers and stuff, which does work, but I do think that people are more likely sometimes, again, to, if they have a stream that they follow in particular, and it's usually one, that somebody really likes Instagram, maybe they're not on Facebook as much, but you want to keep the message on all the streams. We call it like keeping people in the web. So we use the hashtag here, BW Spa, is part of the bigger @BeverlyWilshire handle, and we make sure that, if we tweet out something, maybe it leads back to Facebook for a photo that's been pinned on Pinterest, and then maybe people are more likely to be interested and keep on digging to see what else we have going on.
Right. And you really want to keep in mind too, those channels, there's always a different audience on every channel. So
Yeah.
who is your audience? It could be age, demographic, it could be, are you looking for more B2B contact? Is it more with the consumer? So what you do where depends on which audience is there, and there's loads of great websites and things that can tell you that. And what about you? Now, I know something I think is really cool is like Hirschbedner, I think you guys, didn't you have like certain Twitter accounts for different specialties that you do?
We do, and we tend to, the bigger followers is LinkedIn and Pinterest, because we find that to get involved with spas through the HBA avenue is more property-based, or people that are traveling and they're looking for where they want to stay. And we focus in on the details, basically Pinterest, and we get people's interest that way. So we kind of start at the front end because we're very visual. We're not selling anything, but we're selling, kind of the idea of the property. And again, you talked about being on brand and selling the continuous story. It's very important that we are sending the beginning of the story, that when they get to the experience, that's all cohesive and it holds together.
Definitely.
Melinda, do you have?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Okay, great. So what percentage do you guys think is smart to put out there as of specials and kind of the sales part? Because definitely there is some of that. You want to let people know. But as Christine said, we definitely want to you're giving your brand a personality, your spa personality. So, you don't want to be like that used car salesman. That's not the personality I think most of us want to portray.
Well, especially as a luxury brand, discounts, fire sales, that kind of thing is just not where you sort of want to go. And I think a lot of people who follow a luxury hotel or a luxury spa, high-end spa, they're not interested in sort of those fire sale promotions anyway. I think, they kind of, it's more of an aspirational type of thing, and they want to sort of connect with, what's going on at the spa and what's the newest spa treatment, the newest mask, the diamond mask. I mean, all these things, and reading about that and learning, what are the benefits of it, and, maybe they're going to an event or a red carpet event or a wedding or whatever it might be, to sort of pique their interest. And so you can definitely do things without doing discounts and promotions, but maybe just more of like an offer. So, here's, if you get this spa, if you purchase a spa treatment, you'll get this amenity or this product to take home with you.
Add-ons.
Yeah, an add-on. Rather than discounting your already sort of really high-end service, just do an add-on and sort of add more value to the service that you're offering.
And what would you use as a term, like complimentary?
Yeah.
Better than free? Because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
a luxury, you
Mhm.
don't want to use some.
Exactly.
But never like a promotion.
It's always offer or something,
Offer.
a complimentary.
Yes.
But the add-ons, I know, not just for us, but a lot of spas in the neighborhood is a big piece of promotion, because it It's also a way to have another bit of an experience. So, you use the word aspirational, which is big for us too. We always talk about being aspirational but accessible. So if you're going to bring in new people or you want people to try something else, like that's your best bet. It's not going to, 10% off is not necessarily going to be a strategy, but having an add-on and an added, part of your experience overall is big. We do it a lot here at the hotel.
And then you can take a piece of the Beverly Wilshire home with you, or the Peninsula home with you, after your spa treatment. So it kind of keeps that experience going longer.
And something else that is not really salesy, but more just think of it in terms of educating people. Like perhaps maybe you have somebody has canceled at your spa that day or something. So if your audience is smart, they're following you and they're like, oh my God, a space just opened up, but usually this is a booked up person,
Yeah,
like a
you're always
flash
busy,
appointment.
basically. You're always busy.
Right. So,
Alright.
so your followers are paying attention to that and they're like, oh my gosh, there's an opening, come in and take it, because that's more of a service. That's not your, saying, okay, it's all discounted and discounting your product as well.
Yeah.
And
It
that's
sounds
actually worked.
desperation.
Sorry.
When you sound desperation. it
Yes,
can-
right, exactly,
No,
exactly.
it's true. I
Yeah.
think
Yes.
so. I mean, especially for your specialty you kind of put yourself.
Yeah, that's true. So true.
But that tactic has worked well even for some of my restaurant clients where they have a reservation, a cancellation at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, and they'll say, special for our Facebook audience, and they usually pick one channel to go to that time, and they'll say, we had this cancellation, give us a call now, and a table for 4 just opened up, and they'll fill that slot. And then the Facebook audience also feels like there's value there in following this restaurant or following the spa because maybe they tried to get an appointment that week, couldn't get in, and now they know that they can use the social media channel for that purpose.
Yeah.
And there's always different kinds of promotional needs too. That you're either working to build up loyalty, bringing new people in for the add-ons. If you're doing a calendar grid, you're looking at need times. So going into summer, for instance, maybe one type of treatment isn't getting as much attention. Like a body scrub might not be the first thing someone's trying to book, right? It might always be massages. So then you're going to offer for the month, or kicking off summer, making it really kicking it off because it's being booked not on the same level anyway. So just an incentive. And every time we do that and really talk it up because it's a seasonal value, it becomes a big story for us, and it's a larger story than just a discount. It's really talking about something that can go into a bunch of other press too. And the other thing I was going to say for promotions is I'm sure everybody's getting really familiar and hearing mixed things too about all the other sites like Gilt Groups and the Life Bookers and all that kind of stuff too. And they all have their strengths and weaknesses depending on what you want, but depending on who your audience is and what you're really looking for in return, whether it's monetary, whether it's like finding promotion through somebody's email database, those can be quite useful. I know we've used Gilt Group here with our spa and had really nice results with bringing in a very high-end client and for the first time, and a lot of them have become return guests.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And I mean, something else here. Go ahead.
Yeah, but they've already.
Something else that I think is really important is that who you're listening. Not just think about what you're putting out on social media, but who you're listening to and why. If you're looking at your audience and you're seeing a certain common thing they're maybe tweeting about all the time, maybe they're, losing their hair or they're having some kind of, skin issue, that's something that you really should pay attention to because that can help you really specialize your business and, provide what is needed in your market. So I don't know, does anybody, how do you choose who you follow on social media? Certainly. Carrie, who do you?
It's curation. So again, it's like a target list. You don't want to go out there and just follow like 1,000 people to follow 1,000 people, but you want to look at people that are going to be quality that you want to learn from as well as interact with. It's a good place to start. And certainly you can be either you're in a position where you're adding people back as they're adding you, or you're more particular about it, but you can't be one of those. It always bothers me a little bit when I see people that have like a ton of followers and then follow like a very like minute list and respond. Like you need to be interacting all the time. So people like it when you're reaching out. Maybe Christine can speak better to this too because she works with a lot of clients with pretty big social media numbers. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think your numbers in general, everyone, I have clients that come to me all the time and they say, I want 5 million Twitter followers by next week, and I always say to them, are you Lady Gaga? I mean, like, that's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, and also, what's the value of that 5 million Twitter followers anyway?
Yes.
I'd rather have 50 really engaged followers who will come into my spa and buy my products and help promote my services than 5 million spam bots, because there are services out there where you can buy Twitter followers to kind of get your numbers up, but it's counterintuitive because they're not going to serve you in any way. They're not your customers. They're basically fake accounts. So I mean, it's kind of an ego thing, and I'd rather say, definitely it's all about engagement. So if somebody follows you and it seems like they could be your potential customer, or they might even be your customer, definitely follow them back and keep that conversation going. And if you know that they might be interested in the diamond mask, contact them and let them know, send them a tweet and let them know, we just got this in, it's really great, you should come try it.
Yeah. And is it like
But when you
sorry.
when you tell them you should come and try,
Yes.
it's an offer again, or do they expect they're gonna pay? They're not gonna pay? What is it?
They're gonna pay you.
They're gonna
just
pay.
yeah,
letting
right.
them-
You
letting them
coming
know.
to try, but
I don't think, yeah,
there is
that's
a
like it
bill.
has to be
Okay.
an offer per
Yeah.
se. I was gonna just say, because I think that
Because-
anytime a brand, even if whether it's a person or the actual company brand, contacts one of their followers via social media, there's this huge amount of excitement and pride that you get as like, they mentioned
They noticed
me,
me.
they
Mhm.
noticed me, and I think that just that alone would give you so much more than, even just look on your Instagram, if you're following some of your followers, saying something like great photo, or whatever, just complimenting someone, making them feel good, making them feel like you're watching them too, and I think that can go so much further than giving anything away.
Absolutely.
And even if, I have a lot of brands that will ask me about people who complain on social media or have a customer service issue on social media, and they're always afraid that, well, do we have to give away like 500 massages because this person had a bad experience? And I always say that 90% of the time you can get away with just acknowledging that person. Acknowledgement in this day and age is a really big thing, especially coming from a brand where I think a lot of consumers feel like there's a breakdown of customer service. And so if somebody can feel like a brand cares enough about them to respond via social media, often you don't even have to, you just apologize and say, I'm really sorry, that's not the level of service that we pride ourselves on. We'd love for you to give us a second chance.
Yes.
And that's it. And 90% of the time that works. I mean, unless something really catastrophic happened, in which case I'll say give them something to make this go away. But 90% of the times people just want to feel acknowledged, and it goes a really long way.
Yeah, you don't want them to put a bad review, right?
Exactly.
And that's all just in the management too, because sometimes it's like you can initiate that first like public facing discussion, and then you can take it offline with a direct message and then follow up with an email. But again, it's just the personal acknowledgement and taking it as far as it needs to. But it's a good place to start, because people will take to online to complain.
Yes.
I actually had this happen last week where I helped the client, one of my clients, respond to a negative Yelp review, and we just did a really basic social, on Yelp response, and the customer called and felt so bad. And our response was very just simple and so sorry. She was like, I'm so sorry I didn't tell you in person, and she said I took my review down. And that's not what the point was, but it was, she just
Well, and I
felt
think
like,
a lot of people feel like no one's paying attention.
exactly, and she
So-
just needed to get it out.
Right, yeah, she needed to
And then
get
once
it
she
out.
got it out and then
Right.
realized there was a real person who read it.
Exactly.
Now she was,
Yeah, they can be very anonymous.
yes.
People are too spoiled in LA.
So let's kind of move on to about social media little tools, basically. Where do you think is important for a spa to be? There's so many. There's like a new network coming up every day. How do you choose which is the best?
Well, our main web here is always Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. YouTube for us is more about like a larger hotel, a larger brand video. We do share them. Certainly brand videos that come from a lot of our product are very helpful. or something like the hydrofacial, which we have here, which is a whole facial that most people wouldn't know what that is. So them providing us and saying, hey, we have a YouTube link, like that's helpful. We don't have to create that because it's a lot of work for us, but being able to share something, because we're big on visuals, people are more likely to look at a photo or the video for their understanding first and share it. So.
Yeah, social media is a very visual platform, and I think spas and luxury hotels, they sort of lend themselves to that visual content. So photos, and I think that's why platforms like Pinterest and Instagram have done so well. There's not a lot of text involved. People aren't reading, they're just kind of scrolling with their thumb, and it's like photo after photo, and you kind of get in this zone, just looking at all these things going by, and you get a sense of what's happening, but you're not spending a lot of time on any one thing. And so the more sort of photography that you can take, and it doesn't have to be, I'm not talking about like, hire a professional photographer and spend thousands of dollars and have this person come in and shoot this whole thing and, do a whole photo shoot. That's great, but a lot of times when it comes to social media, people actually just want to see photos taken with an iPhone, and, what does that service or what does the salon look like when it's not all done up and all commercialized. So, you don't have to spend a lot of money doing that, but just that visual content lends itself well to all of these platforms.
Especially with design perspective.
Exactly, and we find the Pinterest is very good for us because you can click on the image that you like, and it's going to send you back to HBA or back to the home property. And it's a great way, because we're visual, we've gotten a lot of feedback from that people, instead of getting a picture of the whole spa, nobody really, they care, they want to see what it looks like, but they're really focused on the details, which was surprising. They want like the microscopic, this is, the hot stone treatment, or just to give an idea of what is different instead of, the overall look of the space. But we find it great for putting back to properties and kind of directing people.
So when
Yeah,
you
visually,
actually have, of course you have a lot of professional photographers,
Yes,
they
we do.
actually will do the close-up shots as
Yes,
well.
yeah, and we find that
Sometimes,
gets almost a better reaction
Right.
than the overall.
It's more
shots,
engaging
yes.
because people can connect with that when they're looking at a whole big space. They're like, unless they're doing some kind of decorating or design at home, and maybe they're trying to pick your design for some things
Mhm,
they can do in
mhm.
their own home. Yeah.
Sometimes it is about the smaller moment content too. Christine was saying about just using the iPhone. Like honestly, especially on Instagram, you have an Instagram photo, then you're pushing it out on Twitter and Facebook. It's amazing. Literally, we'll go to our nail bar and shoot a photo of our hand, with some jewelry, like grabbing for a certain color and then highlighting that color, and you won't believe the reaction we get to it because it's personal. It's saying we have this color now on the nail bar and we're trying this, or if you happen to have somebody in. Certainly I had a friend who's a big style blogger, and she had come into our spa. Well, she was, as they do, photographing throughout her, her stay. So when she went outside by the pool, or she was trying a nail polish that had 1,000 likes within a minute, she has, an hour, sorry, because she has tens of thousands of followers. It's just wanting to see like a little snapshot of what you have to offer.
Right.
So,
and I was going to say, just on that note of nails and salons, that is just, I think, the biggest area for growth if your spa is offering nail services, even if that's not your main focus, just because nails right now are booming. It is, one of my clients is opening her own salon. She's a celebrity manicurist, and Instagram has been huge for her, so huge, and just all the tags, all of the, it's almost, like my feed, because of me helping her, is, it's just nails, 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 and but she's getting so much business from that, and nail artists are putting their numbers, go ahead and contact me, here's my email address. She's almost to the point where she's too busy, and so I think that right there, just also paying attention to what is just hot in social media. And you're going to have your spa services are going to be they're going to be day to day very similar, but like you said, focusing in on those details with the hot stones, or just those little things around the room. I think in social media mostly, Pinterest, it's about beautiful images, it's about the touches, it's about the little things that you find in your spa experience, not just that you're going to get a great massage, because you can't really Instagram, while your massage therapist is rubbing on your back. You could try, you could definitely try, but I think it's kind of collecting it almost like a journey as you go. So.
And it's great to really, sorry.
Just on that subject of like the nails being kind of a huge growing, space right now. Are you guys finding enhancements or add-ons or like transferring over there too? Or is it just strictly, nail, like manicures, pedicures?
Oh, nail art right now, I think is,
Yeah. But any, particularly like any of the spa enhancements, treatments, add-ons going over to that side too?
Like actually anti-aging therapies, like maybe Juveder or
Yeah, just like for
Juvederm
those- some of those
fillers in your
add-ons,
hands and
enhancements,
things
those
like
types of
that. I
things.
think that's a huge booming area.
Always hands and foot massage too, easy
Yes.
add-on,
Yeah,
always.
okay.
Right,
Yeah.
but with some of the things, like they're starting to do laser resurfacing of the hands, so
Yeah.
it's really, I think that is a really cool add-on that you can do. It's
Okay.
gonna really,
Any facial treatments too, like while those are going on, or?
We haven't done anything with it.
Okay.
Usually, well, at least for us here, because we keep the nail bar really separate, I think it's a very different experience. So the add-ons tend to be like, I know for here, you get a complimentary glass of champagne.
Yeah.
You have,
Okay.
you get the offer for certain hand massages. We're featuring new creams, that kind of thing. Again, it's just the added, like a nice bonus
Sure,
being
yeah.
there. Yeah, so it's extra special. It might make you want to come again.
yeah, and it really depends on the spa. Whereas if it's a medical spa, you're gonna see more of those, of those services that are
Okay.
the kind of the
Mhm.
fillers, the kind of the IPL, the laser resurfacing that you get on your face.
Yeah.
People now want that on their hands
Yeah.
because they age first.
I
for
think,
most
I think the
people.
more pictures people keep taking of their hands, the more they're gonna start to look
Yeah.
at their age
Yeah.
spots, and you're gonna say,
Yeah.
and I think we need to capitalize on that, actually.
Okay, and I just wanted to mention, I don't know if you noticed, the gentleman in the red shirt just came in, Kevin.
everybody.
So, do you want to come up and, we are, we're just finished talking about tools.
Oh, nice.
So,
Okay, cool.
take
All
it
right, so
away.
we've had a great discussion on tools so far. Various ways to use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. We covered all of those. So why don't we move on to some of the ways that what content is actually engaging for spas. So there's a lot of different content you could have. There's photos, there's videos, there's Instagram video. What are some of the types of content that are really engaging, that get a lot of shares, get a lot of retweets, or is it just an inspirational quote or a nice picture of the spa? What are some of the things which can really get some social media energy?
Well, we just.
I was going
So
to say,
we did
talk
talk
a little bit about the
photos.
content.
Oh, you did?
Just
Okay, yeah,
we
okay.
talked about photos, we didn't-
But sometimes as far as it's funny because you wrote down inspirational quotes, but sometimes it's again with jumping into those other popular hashtags or discussions. So again, Wellness Wednesdays for spa is really great because maybe it's something that if you have a spa, you get 10 tips from your spa director, and every Wednesday you share one. Something that's consistent that's coming from you. Like our expert is going to share this with you, or a certain product that's going to share some expertise with you, just to keep it consistent. Again, it's about curation. People are going to come back to you maybe to see what you're going to post, and they get used to the fact that you're doing it every week.
And going on the hashtag thing, we share, my company is more about spa living at home. So our most popular hashtag shares are celebrities. If we show we show Christina Aguilera's in-home spa, that gets just a phenomenal amount of retweets and shares. So things like that, just whatever is really in pop culture, we need to really connect more with that, I think.
Well, I was going to say, I think, we've talked a lot about different ways that you can use social media to promote, your services and the products that you have in your spa, but also be a resource outside of yourself. So, if there's a red carpet event, if there's, an award show like the Emmys, for example, and there's all this talk about what celebrities are, skincare, hair care, what manicure colors. E! News, E! Red Carpet now has a Manicam, with like the celebrity nail polish colors. And so if you sort of be the person who can comment on that as well. And maybe you don't even have that nail polish color in your salon, or you don't offer that service, but it doesn't matter. You're taking part in an existing conversation, and that's where you can really start to sort of forge relationships on a personal level with people. By taking part in those conversations that when it really has nothing to do with you. And that's totally okay, because there are other moments where you'll be plugging yourself and your services and your products exclusively, but there are so many opportunities to be able to just jump into the conversations that are already happening and sort of say, we think that we have an experience with this, and we know that spa treatment works really well, and that's why, Cameron Diaz had that done. So I think it's really important to do that as well.
Right, so it's really important to be relevant, and real-time social media networking or social media usage has become really popular with the Oreo and the Super Bowl campaign.
Yes.
I even saw something watching the Emmys last night Actually, I was at the Emmys last night. But while I was at the Emmys, I was checking my Twitter feed, and someone did a post with Derek Hugh, who won. Derek who won something.
Yeah.
Derek Huff who won, and it was like, hey, Derek, great dancing. Like, how about, would you like to get these shoes? And then there was a shoe company, so they did a shoe tie-in. So, so you can, definitely. And they put together this graphic really quick and just like put it up there, which I thought was interesting just to be part of the conversation. So, similarly, if you see someone on a show that has maybe not so good nails, you can say, hey, come and buy the spa.
Come to the nail bar.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
we've even done,
Yeah.
I was just wondering if there, especially when you get with celebrity situations, there can be like some legal issues you have to deal with and stuff like that. Are there any challenges or considerations in the spa world in particular that informs, or limitations or places that you
Yeah.
try to
So how can you
stay
get
from?
celebrities to be officially on board your program, and then how can you do outreach to explore if they could be on board a program? Has anyone had experience with that?
We've tried.
Usually
I
they
think we've
want-
all probably had our fair share of celebrities camping out in our properties and our spas, but getting them to actually get on board with you is different. They definitely love to come in. They love to be pampered, and we hosted a very well-known celebrity at my at Terranea Resort when I was there for 6 weeks before she had her babies, and
She was
it
there for 6 weeks up at Terranea?
It was very long,
Wow.
and we really wanted very badly to use that that story somehow, but it took a lot of negotiating, and we finally did kind of come to an agreement, and there was an article in Life and Style magazine, and they did a photo shoot, but I think it's more about just being able to be sensitive, because the confidentiality is, as you said, is huge. And anytime anybody asks me, who comes into your spa, I say, can't say.
Yeah,
Right.
we're
You
the
can't
same way
say.
privacy is king, so it's kind of a fine line, because you don't want to be harassing somebody or like outwardly pitching them something as like a promotional thing online. So we're very reactionary. So if somebody happens to mention something, or it's like on par with the beauty conversation, then that's an opportunity for us to engage like we're having a conversation, but not necessarily say, so-and-so used our product. Like that would almost seem tacky, I think, for us, unless it was really blatant and they had talked about it or they were photographed. That would be a different thing. But for us
Right.
to out somebody just for our own gain is iffy, because that person might not be inclined to really come back in the fold.
Right. In this case, did the person did the celebrity ever tweet that she was or he was at the facility?
Once it
During
was
the
a
6
long
weeks?
negotiation of finally getting that, kind of the big press, hit for the Life and Style article. So once that happened, then yes, she did.
Okay.
But still, I think just you have to leave that to, whoever it is that's running for your company, your PR people, your director
Right.
of sales and marketing, or whoever it is, and just, and that's kind of what we just left it, and then it finally happened, and
Right.
so it was great.
Right. Because some celebs might voluntarily just say, hey,
Yes.
nice sunset from the
Yes.
whatever spa
Right.
resort,
I was gonna say,
or a
I
nice
think
pool
it's-
at
That's much
the
better.
whatever. And if you do, that's lucky, but don't expect that, and you
Right.
certainly can't go and take a picture of them there, because that is
Right.
not good.
No, that's not good. But I mean, I think celebrities are much more inclined, I think, to retweet something via social media
Yeah.
than,
Mhm.
to, mention you in their next People Magazine article. I mean, that's a whole other thing, because then they're becoming a spokesperson. But if Cameron Diaz comes to the Beverly Wilshire all the time, and you happen to, and you kind of have more of that personal relationship with her offline, and she sees a tweet, she might be more inclined to retweet it. I don't think there's that much legality for those types of things, and hopefully you can just kind of create that one-on-one relationship with them offline, so that again they're a little bit more incentivized to do it.
Got it.
You
Okay.
know, to send a retweet.
So if you have a spa or spa services, invite the celebs. It's confidential.
Right.
Hope that they might tweet something or retweet something related to the spa or the service, but you can't ask for that and you can't take pictures. Does that
Right.
sound? Okay, got it. All right. So clear that up, and working with celebs.
And then
Celebs.
there is another tool that we didn't really mention, which
Okay.
is video, and I feel like
Yeah, we
that's
haven't talked
probably
about
the
video.
most increasing, I mean, that's the most shared content
Okay,
on
so
the
what
web
kind
at
of
the
video?
moment.
Is it a promotional, like, 2-minute
It
sizzle
could
on
be
your
like
spa?
what Carrie
Is
did, or
it?
it could be, I've done like live stream videos at spas, like where I'm in the room, because
Oh,
it's
wow.
very difficult, where it's like I'll have Ustream on,
Okay.
and I'll be in there talking everybody through what I'm doing. doing. I did a thing with Spa Week where we did that at several spas around LA, and that was great. People were
Okay.
actually watching me. They were able to emotionally engage. And
I
I think
see.
that's the key to the social media, especially for spas.
Right, so they got to see what it was like in the
Yes.
service, they could see you getting it, they
Mhm.
could envision it.
And there's also a lot of the videos where, you know, you're seeing the gorgeous glamour shots of the spa, you know, kind of people laying around, but it's all very staged. And I think the things that are more real or
Right.
that have story to them are much more powerful.
Right, okay, so a combination of produced videos that are 1 to 2
Right.
minutes, but also some experiential, here I am at the spa video, when it's
Right.
okay with the spa. You can't just like
Exactly.
go around and do the spa.
It'd
because
be the spa,
There's
you
another
know?
rule saying no cameras at spas.
When I was a
right?
mystery shopper, I did that, but no more,
Okay.
yeah.
That was another thing with video, is something we did with our concierge, but I think would totally work in a spa, is we shot personally our own videos as response on Twitter. So it was like, tweet us your question and maybe it'll be answered on a Wellness Wednesday. And sure enough, we'd go in there, you could go to some spa attendant, and they could answer your question at your handle, you know, at Luxury PR Gal, thank you for your question, you can do blah, blah, blah. And you release that once a week, it builds up content, again, it's personal, and it probably is answered, like, not just your question, but maybe there was 20 other people that had the same
The same question.
Mhm.
That's a really easy thing to do to keep interactive, and it's easy to film on your own.
Okay,
And I would say tutorials are, I think, a huge opportunity for video. Just kind of, again, going back to the nail side of things, just because I think that's something easy to do a tutorial on, especially with Instagram, with the 15-second videos. But also, if you have, you know, your own YouTube channel, and that's something that people are really interested in, is how do I do this at home? And that goes back to spa at home. But you know, you could do that with some of your, maybe your more complicated treatments. I know that when I was at Terranea, we had these really 2-hour-long gorgeous services, and sometimes you kind of thought to yourself, like, when you read the menu, what does that really mean? What's really going to be happening to me? And I think you could really, if you took something and just made it very simple, and even just showed the different stages of each of the parts of the service, and just kind of weave that into a really short video. I think our attention spans are too short anymore to read long descriptions and to really buy into this whole you know, the long treatment menu. So I think really just having like a little snapshot and just kind of showing, and I think
An Instagram video is great for that, because
Yeah.
it already has a time limit. The video tool is built right into the app, so you're not having to get a camera and then upload and download and edit and
Right.
none of that. It's all the editing tools, everything's right there within Instagram. So that's a great, quick way to do that.
cool, I have a question for the audience. Who here actually has a YouTube channel that relates to spa, beauty, health, and wellness? All right, a couple of video folks. Who here is working or works for a spa or a spa-related service? All right, a couple of folks. All right, cool. All right, just wanted to see what the audience is into. All right, so how about Foursquare or location things? Being able to check it on Foursquare, check it on Yelp, offering a discount for that so people's friends on those social networks can see that. Is that being used for spas, or people don't want their friends to know if they're at the spa?
You've done it at the nail bar.
We've done the nail bar,
Okay.
Which here is separate from the spa. We have found actually that the check-ins work best with our restaurant outlets, to be
Okay.
honestly. We had a lot less of them for spa, so I'm actually curious too, because we haven't seen a huge return from that personally,
Okay.
and especially with Foursquare, so we've kind of backed off that a little
Okay.
bit. But I know some
Yeah.
other people have.
So it's
success with
Foursquare,
it.
Yelp, and basically Facebook. Are there any other check-in services y'all use? Okay, those are the basic ones. So yeah, does it work to offer people like a 10% off discount, or check in and get a free bottle of water? I don't know, just so that people's friends know. Has that worked for anybody? Or people that would rather not check in for spa services because it's a
We
private,
did it-
quiet time?
Yeah, we did it at one of the spas that I was at in Santa Barbara, and not a lot of people did it. You know,
Okay.
and I think, honestly, because you're getting there, maybe you're not checking in until 15, 20, maybe half an hour, maybe you're checking in like right when you're leaving. So I think you really have to almost like figure out that there might be a check-in special before you go, and so, because a lot of times these offers are built so that when you literally you check in and then you
Right.
are paying or you're purchasing whatever it is you're purchasing, that you get that offer right then and there. I can't tell you how many times I've checked in somewhere afterwards.
Me too. Because
Right.
I
I'm
check
like-
in when I'm leaving places. I don't check
Exactly.
in when I
Yeah,
arrive.
that's what I do too.
Exactly. And I'm going,
Various
I just
issues,
missed
right.
out on that special.
Right.
So it's kind of difficult. I mean, I haven't figured out for myself.
Okay, all right, so it sounds like not really useful for spa
Do
services.
you think maybe a lot of
Have
people,
they-
when they're going into a spot too, a lot of times they're going in to tune out maybe for that hour?
Exactly.
Right, so
Something
they're
like
putting
that.
their phones
Okay.
away.
Right, and your
Yeah.
phone's
Right.
in the locker because
Yeah.
you're, yeah, in
Exactly.
your swimsuit.
Hopefully, we're.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, question?
It's a silly question, just changing from an Android phone. Have you found that really the Android is less useful than an iPhone to do all these things in your experience?
I've used both. They've both been useful for me.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes a lot of the programs that people are using tend to be faster, upgraded more frequently, I guess, really on iPhone. Because I know that things like Instagram and it was something that came late to be available on Android. It was on iPhone first. So I just think that iPhone in general is handier. But iPhone, as far as just utilizing the social media networks, I think is about the same for me. But
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it'd be okay.
Yeah, I think the apps come faster to the iPhone and the updates than they do to Android, but assuming that they're all the same on both devices, either one should work for you.
Okay, great. Let's move on to the next topic, which is your voice. In social media, everyone, whether it's a person or a spa or a hotel or whatever service, has the opportunity to directly communicate and have a voice, which is like how you sound to your consumers or your fans. How do you figure out what your voice is for a spa? And an example of a voice is, I don't know, you could be uplifting, you could be, health-minded, you could be, cute, you could be snide. Like there's a couple of different sorts of voices. What voices work well with spa services, and how do you find your voice?
Soothing,
Well, it's an important question because that's again, it's part of your marketing. Like you can tell sometimes when there's sloppy social media, if there's somebody that knows nothing about what you're really trying to sell is like a brand, and you can tell online. So
Right.
you really need to understand what you think you represent, what you'd like to give out, how that person is. We always talk about, like, if we were a certain actress or something, who would that be from our spa? We always like to use people like Gwyneth Paltrow or something. It's like, how would she talk? She'd probably be witty, she'd be classy, there'd be sociable, like those kinds of things. So we're always very aware of how we want to represent ourselves. So we're never overly casual to the point where it seems like we're not Beverly Wilshire anymore, but we still want to keep a certain level of engagement and still reasonably relaxed. If that makes sense. But branding's very key for us.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, who is your brand offline, and just keeping it all consistent and keeping it consistent not only between online and offline, but then from each social media platform, and making sure that voice, whatever voice you end up choosing, maybe it is soothing, maybe it's just when people are reading your Twitter stream, you just want them to feel relaxed. But you need to keep that then consistent with everything you have going offline, meaning when people walk into your spa, they have that same sort of feeling. You don't kind of want to have it be like this sort of more trendy, hip, busy kind of loud spa, when online you're portraying this like really calm, soothing sort of environment. So you want to make sure that what you're portraying online is who you actually are offline, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That is very smart.
And it should really fit your personality. I mean, for me, I'm not speaking from a spa, but it's a spa lifestyle perspective, but even then there can be so many different niches, and I'm more friendly, and people are like, oh, I'm like talking to my best girlfriend, whatever, when they listen to my podcast or when they talk with me online. And I really love that, because that's what I want. But there are a lot of spa lifestyle brands online that are a bit more, luxurious,
Right.
more, like Spa Finder, for instance, and they're more educational, they're very wellness focused. So
Right.
whatever, just be true to yourself and your brand.
Right. Definitely. As an example, when I run the Digital LA Twitter, which is at Digital LA, and I decided early on to have it be very super casual, and that texting language is okay. So I will use the letter U instead of type out U, and just be very casual and fun and informative about news, and then also talk about lifestyle events that are happening in Los Angeles. However, I run another account for Yale and Hollywood, which is for Yale Alumni Entertainment, and for that, since it's Yale alumni, I'm very more formal. I always write out U, Y-O-U. I don't use this casual vernacular that you do in your text, even though it's the same, Twitter. So just an example. So let's take this further, and just if each of you could describe when you tweet, use 3 adjectives. Carrie, going on what you were saying, 3 adjectives to describe your voice, just so people can understand that it's like a personality, like describing a person. Ready? You want to go first?
Oh, wow. Can I go first? Can we start with
All right,
the
you
other
want to go first?
More than
For
one
my
voice.
voice or for the spas that I would work with?
How about your own personal Twitter?
Oh, sarcastic.
Okay, okay, so sarcastic?
3.
Yeah.
Uh,
As if you're describing your friend. You're
Real.
describing your Twitter account.
I think-
Regal, okay.
No, real.
A real, okay.
No, not regal. Real. Real. And I would say, gosh, I don't know.
Need 3 words?
3 words. A little sarcasm, real, and then
Fun, upbeat,
funny.
spontaneous?
Maybe funny.
Okay,
yeah.
funny, okay, great.
Try.
I would say probably blunt, but responsive, and I don't know about the third.
Okay,
Yeah.
you got that, all right.
It's like whimsical, fun, frivolous.
Okay, nice.
Those are good.
Approachable, informative, and aspirational.
Awesome, okay.
That's
Completely
good.
accurate. I follow luxury PR girl stuff. I want to go there too.
Yeah, so I would say classy, personable, and I was going to say aspirational because that is a good one. But it's about being that aspirational but accessible again. Like, you're talking to a real person, but we are under the umbrella of a brand. So-
Accessible luxury.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Luxury.
Let's take us to the audience. Who has a
Yes.
who has a Twitter account that they tweet from regularly, daily, and can describe their voice in 3 adjectives? Who's on Twitter? Yep. Can you stand up and say what your Twitter account is and what it does so we get it, and then your adjectives?
Well, personally,
Yeah.
my personal voice is very different from the brand
Okay.
I tweet on behalf of. So personally, I'm a little snarky. I like to think I'm funny, maybe not, but honest. But my brand, I work for a luxury hotel brand,
Okay.
and we are approachable. At least that's our goal, and we like to be thoughtful with what we tweet. We realize there's some.
Approachable, thoughtful, and what was
Oh,
the third?
one more. God, I don't know. Well, let's go with approachable and
Approachable,
thoughtful. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's great that both you for your luxury brand and you for your Beverly Wilshire and other luxury brands have mentioned approachable because it's often thought that luxury brands are like unattainable, like it's so whoa, like you hear that the celebrities do that, but I could never do that. So it's nice that with social media, like Twitter, you can communicate with anyone. You can actually say, hey, this is actually approachable. A friend of mine runs the social media for Beverly Hills Porsche, which you would think is very super classy exclusive, but he decided I'm going to just have fun with it, and he started just making some fun tweets, Instagrams of the do on a car, or oh, the new model's coming in, and just was more fun and upbeat, and that got people really engaged. And he just decided to take it that way and was okay with corporate, so that worked out. All right, anyone else have any questions about voice? How do you find your voice? All right, cool. Let's figure out who, kind of going on what you said, Christina, is who manages the voice. It's important to be consistent. Does that mean you hire the same person to do all your social media accounts? Do you have different people do different things because they sound different? How do you figure that out? And who does the social media, for example, at the Beverly Wilshire or at the various spas that you consult with? Who's in charge of it?
I'd say the smaller the team, the better. So whether it's one person or a small team where you're consistently communicating so you're on the same page. I know here at Beverly Wilshire, both myself and my coordinator, Kirsten Dunn, we run everything on a daily basis. And it actually helps us to do the rest of our work. So we're like the eye in the sky. So we can see the conversation going on at all times about the spa, about the product, etc. And it helps us help all the different areas of the hotel.
Okay, great. So keep the team small and coordinated so you know what's going on so you can communicate the same thing and then have a similar voice.
Yes.
Okay.
And for me, I manage the social media on behalf of my clients because they, they're business owners. They don't have time. As
Does
we've
that mean
discussed.
you tweet for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Tweet
So then
for
how do you
them.
know how they're supposed to sound like?
Because I get to know who their brand
Okay.
is and what their, what their kind of messaging marketing is
Okay.
overall, and then I take that and I
Because you told
translate
them
it
what it should be.
into right. And listen, there's a learning curve I think for everyone. Even brands who manage their own, even I do this sometimes. I'll say something and I'm like, that's not the way. I shouldn't say it like that, and I'll delete it and redo it. So there's a learning curve no matter what. I am off-site, so I don't have the benefit of being, at the spa or in the hotel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I do usually work with somebody who is there in-house, and they're sort of my eyes and ears, and they can just kind of shoot things to me really quickly, whether it's a photo or just an update like the chef walked in and there's a new dish. And they can just kind of relay that to me really quickly, and then I'll be responsible for putting it in the context and write it in the way that is consistent with our social channels to date. And so
Okay.
that's sort of my job.
Okay, great.
And then as an entrepreneur, I used to always do everything myself, but then I've created a hashtag called Spa Style Spy. So I have different people that go around to spas and they use that hashtag and put up photos, and so I have like my little army of Spa Style Spies going around that then I retweet their things and share it, and they share that with my audience to
Great.
inspire them at home.
Great. That's fun.
I'm in a big company. We have 13 offices worldwide, so we have a PR person and we have Murphy O'Brien that helps us with it. And they are in charge of having the one voice for offices all over the world.
Got it. Okay.
So it's very important. They know the brand, and so they're trying to keep us on brand as we work with the other brands.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I see it in all areas. So I have one client that has a large PR firm. Actually, I think they work with Murphy O'Brien too. And then one client who is an entrepreneur, does everything herself, and she's excellent at it. And so her voice is literally her voice. And then I have a really small day spa client that it's a mixture of voices, and it is a small team, but it's a very close-knit group, and it's everybody's in the same building, and they're all running around doing, seeing what's going on throughout the day. And so there's a little bit of a trust that goes into it, and we kind of, we share what do we think could be something they could Instagram today, or something that could be tweeted about, or Facebooked about. And so I would say trust is the biggest thing that you have to have whenever you're going to let several people within your organization.
Any questions about audience and voice and who manages it? Okay. All right. Let's go on to resources. Actually, let's go back to audience. Most spa services are targeted toward female audiences. I would say. How do you engage male audiences, either men who can buy services for their wives or their significant others for the holidays, or to actually get the services themselves, or even to communicate to the the female audience how they could also get services for their significant others and come in together? How do you broaden the audience to be on a target niche of women audience?
Well, I actually have a pretty international audience, and like all of our channels, I have 60% men, 40% women.
Okay.
And I think it's just because that I choose different, different aesthetics that appeal to both.
Okay.
And I don't try to always appeal with a certain thing. I'll know that I'm going for a man. But it was just interesting on Facebook. I just noticed all of a sudden that all these guys, and really they're interested in grooming at home. A lot of men don't really want to go to the spa, or if they do, they don't want people to know about it still. So it's one of those kind of clandestine things. Hey, I know.
I just want to remember that I'm a little bit late because my mom is visiting in town for her birthday. She's right there. Sorry, Mom. And we just got back from the Glen Ivy Day Spa this morning, so and I had a treatment too. So.
But seriously,
I was gonna say, I think men are going more and more. I mean, I still have not heard of like a dude spa day.
There is.
Okay.
There is.
There is.
there's lots.
Saks.
Okay.
There is one.
I'm just saying, I don't really know a lot
Only
of
for men.
who will like. I'm sure that there are packages, but I just don't know that many guys who are like, honey, I'm going to the Ojai Valley Inn spa for the weekend with my buddies. It doesn't happen. However,
What would that hashtag be?
Spa dude. That's what we
Spa
But
dude.
I do think men are, more and more going with, their significant others or their mothers or girlfriends, and then so you can kind of get to men that way. I think that's a good point. Is to go through the woman first. So find women and then say, or I've also know a lot of gay men. They'll go as couples together to the
Oh,
spa.
no,
So I
gay
think
go.
more as like a couple situation. I think for men across the board is just a much easier way to kind of go to the spa than to just show up and be like, I'm getting a massage today. I think that still doesn't happen as much, but it's getting there.
But there
and
are
it's growing.
spas that have spas exclusively for the men. So those spas are getting more of the men. I'm finding, and they're like men are like one of the largest growing target markets
Right.
for the spa experience. So if you market it that way, you create this experience just for men. Now it's going to involve much more a higher capital outlay, of course, because you are creating two separate spas. you're gonna get the guys, I think.
And
It doesn't
spas
have
do
to
have
always be-
packages for men too, most of them,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like a
We have-
sports massage
Yeah,
and things like
yeah,
that.
Yes,
there's
call
all
it a
kinds
sports
of ones
massage,
that
and guys are
Right.
like, all right, I'll
Alright,
get that. I was working out, I'll get that.
Well, it's twofold. It's certainly their experience, so like these products, like the experiences for men, but certainly for the gifts and stuff as well.
Mhm.
So it's all about messaging. So it's like, who are you addressing? So sometimes our messaging is specifically like present time, like here's an idea, and we get a big response out of that. But also, we just started carrying a men's product, and we saw a huge growth of the amount of men that were coming to our spa because
Oh,
we were
wow.
talking about that we had this whole men's line. So all of a sudden, you had people coming in purchasing a men's line, might be more inclined to actually try the line
In the spa.
in the spa. So we did see growth in that.
Okay.
And there's
Right.
certainly specialty spas. There's a really cool spa in New York, Yellow Spa. They just opened a spa in Brazil, and they have, basically you go there and have a nap. A
Mhm.
gentleman opened it, a French guy, and he learned this practice when he was in Japan on business, and he wanted to bring it to the States.
Mhm.
And he said, he's told me 80% of his clientele are men.
Wow, okay.
So-
So opportunity for growth, that sounds like. Yeah, question?
Really quick
Yeah,
anecdote.
that's
You know, I used to live in a neighborhood in Brooklyn that was very, very heavy Sopranos, like big 300-pound Italian guys. I stood out, and eventually, I think they gave us the glare, my wife and I had to leave. But on any given Saturday, you would go by the local spas and treatments, and it was all 300-pound Sopranos guys. They take care of their nails, they take care of their
Yeah.
skin.
They do.
Yeah.
And they're
I
not
thought they had
afraid of it.
women.
They're not embarrassed about it at all. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, any other questions about multiple audiences? Yeah, Mom.
I'd like to know how many of you would host events, like offer a package for, say, a group of 6 people, you do their facial or massage for a set price and have a kind of a party.
Okay, so like basically, have you ever done anything where influencers, where you invite 6 or so influencers and give them a little like spa package a day, or the general public?
We've done 2 angles to that. We've certainly done smaller events for a reason with like groups of influencers, especially online influencers. That's a really easy win. You can have some people have a glass of champagne, maybe you share a product, maybe some nail, like a whole little experience in an hour or 2. But also when there's larger groups, I know especially at a hotel through sales, we can do some kind of packaging when we're talking about maybe 10 people, sometimes 6 too. We've had people that book like special events. Certainly we've done a lot of add-ons or made sure that we did something extraordinary in that circumstance. If you know you're doing 6 facials, I'm sure you can work with them to create something else for them. Yeah, you gotta be open to that for sure.
Yeah, when we're designing hotel spas and everything, we always
Right.
look for the group market because we're generally attached to a hotel.
Right.
So like Qua Spa in Las Vegas, we had to address the fact that they're going to close down at night for private parties.
Oh, okay. You gotta make sure the physical layout
Yes,
accommodates
can
that.
accommodate that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I think
Okay.
you're seeing that more and more now. Every spa you go to has common lounges and areas that are,
Mhm.
can be separate and rentable.
Mhm.
But definitely groups. I mean, I don't think you can really open a spa these days without thinking about being able to accommodate at least something. That group of 6 is a perfect size.
Right.
And working with your resource partners, your vendors, they're always looking to give free products. And those are great little add-ons and giveaways to those types of groups. If you can't do a huge discount for them, to give them a little something, in a little bag, and
Mhm.
say thank you, and definitely.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so to the last point we wanted to cover is results and measurement and statistics. How do you measure the effectiveness of everything that you're working on? Is it, do you come up with a report to your boss with the number of tweets, the number of shares, or the number of increase in sales at the spa, or are there other ways to
We
measure it?
don't see the sales, but we
Okay.
definitely see the increase of views and tweets and comments and likes, and so it's definitely,
Okay.
it
So you measure likes,
heightens
tweets,
the awareness,
retweets.
yeah.
Okay.
Because we're looking at the design brand, and we're
Right.
heightening the awareness
Right,
of
right.
that.
So
And
people know this is
our goal
your
is
spot.
that it goes down, we're assisting the operator and the
Right.
sales. We have to work together as a team.
Right, okay.
In addition to, likes and reporting to my clients, we've increased our follower numbers or our fan numbers by X percentage this month. I also really like to focus on engagement numbers. So how many comments have we gotten? How many, likes on a Facebook post or on an Instagram photo? because you can kind of use that as a tool to find out what is my audience responding to. So this because sometimes I'll think I have this genius tweet or this genius like Instagram photo that's just everyone's gonna go crazy for, and I post it and nothing happens. I get like 3 likes on it. And then there's something else that I really didn't give much thought to, and I'll just kind of throw it up there, and it really resonates with people. So, at the end of the month, I can then go to my client and say, we need to do more of this, because this stuff that we thought was going to do really well, no one cares about it. They just don't. And, the numbers just aren't supporting it. But this type of content does incredibly well. So let's focus our energy and our resources creating content and tweeting and posting around this type of stuff. And so that's where I really like to sort of focus most of my energy, because I'm the one sort of responsible for creating all this content. So I need to know that I'm not just spinning my wheels, and creating content that is going to be valuable and shared. So I think it's both. It's looking at how much your overall fan base has grown, but also what your engagement numbers are.
I always like to think of it, even though I'm not a spa per se, as like the quality of interaction. So, I really value when people ask me questions like, what products do you love? What, do you know where I can find this shades for my living room that I saw in the spa or whatever? I feel like when they feel close enough, and then lots of times I meet them in person, or they want me to have an event because they want to interact and learn. I think that is just so, that's really invaluable.
As a podcast, what are you measuring? The downloads or streams?
Oh, yeah, my downloads, yeah.
Okay.
But I really, the comments is my favorite part.
The
Like
comments.
the iTunes comments when people say.
Okay, on the iTunes comments. Okay,
Mhm.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, or when people email me questions.
Okay, got it. All right. Anybody else? How do you measure all this stuff?
To exactly what Christine said, we do monthly reports, and we certainly watch our own growth and watch competitors' growth too, just out of curiosity, because that's always an opportunity to learn. If somebody's really seeing growth in here, what are they doing? Like, it's okay to beg, borrow, steal, take some really good ideas, make them your own, and always learn. And we're constantly reading about what other companies are doing out there, and trying to, even if it's a different industry and they've had some great success, and we'll take that and make it into a spa idea. So you've just always got to be open to trying something new
This
without
being
going
social-
too far off brand.
Yeah, and this being Social Media Week, there are all these topics that are being covered through panels all this week. There's like more than 70 panels. I'm doing a movie and music panel and a startup panel. There are other industries. There's a fashion panel. Basically, there are all these industries are having panels about social media and what's working. So if there's an idea where you're thinking, oh, I'm going to try that for my spa, go for it. Run with it. We're all figuring this stuff out. So yeah, question.
You brought up something that was very interesting. I'm not sure if you can answer it or anybody else can answer it, because I've been focusing so much on the tweeters that are women, but didn't think about so much of the men that actually tweet. Does anybody know a percentage of how many people are really the men that tweet comparison to women?
I think if you do a stat analysis on Twitter, it's probably, I think it's 55% female, 45% male. So yeah, I think Twitter slightly skews female, but there's still a lot of people who tweet. So
Pinterest is a high female platform.
It's still, but that's what I've been focusing on, is just trying to gear the women to come into the spa, but not really focus on trying to highlight men's specialty services.
do you have men's services?
We do.
Do you
but
tweet
I've
about
never
them,
even-
or do you?
What's that?
Do you tweet about them, or do you post?
No, but
pictures?
that's why I'm saying.
All right, we got a good idea here. All right, action step for you when you get back to the office, or as you're on your way home.
Well, it's good to mix up, because again, also for gifts, like what if there's a woman out there that wants to buy the man gift in return? So it's all value in the end.
Yeah, especially because we have a package that is called Metropolitan Man.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go. Light bulb moment.
All right.
Love it.
You got ideas happen. This is good. This is good. Helping out your business. That's what we want to do. All right. So now we're at the time for open questions. So ask any questions about anything you want. Who has questions? I've been taking them throughout. Yes.
I'd like to know if there's advancement in your field, like new technique, new treatment, new procedure. How do you introduce that to the public and convince people to try your new technique or treatment product or the benefit?
Totally didn't plan this question. Totally did. So you have new services and new treatments that are being offered. Maybe you have a new superstar like Actually, no one's ever done that. A superstar like Monsieur or Masseuse, like, we got Joe, we got Susan, she's really good. Anyway, when you have a new treatment, or a
do you
new package
convince them?
offer, or a holiday package, how do you promote those services?
An event's always a good way. Have
Okay.
a specialty event, especially
Yeah.
around the holidays when you're offering packages.
What kind of
Like,
event?
Oh, you could do open houses. It's really not the best though. I prefer to do something like a partnership with a brand. You know, have people come and, you know, download from all the holiday craziness. We've done a lot of events like with nonprofits, so that's always a good way to tie
Okay.
it in.
So
But-
events with brands and partners, okay? What else?
Well, again, it's the digital PR sometimes, of course, on your social media, but beyond your own brand pages. So you're always going to leverage through other partners, right? So maybe you introduce, it could be through a specific offer with someone else, like a guilt group, or, you know, it's again, like reaching out to LA Confidential and Angelino magazines and all these people that have spa sections on their websites, their magazines, and could possibly give you other social media support. There's a lot of other digital support for your new products, especially locally. So you really have to push that message out there. So it's beyond just your own channel.
Or beauty bloggers and, you know, getting
Beauty bloggers.
in front of their
Mhm.
audience, or, you know, people who focus on spa.
How do you reach beauty bloggers? Everyone always says, go to the bloggers and influencers, but how do you find them?
Well, there is the real one and the fake one.
Right, how do you find the real ones?
The real ones, well, I mean, that's part of my job too, is sort of knowing who those people are that are, you know, going to bring value to my clients. Because I have tons of people who will contact me and say, you know, I want a free spa treatment, or I want, you know, free dinner at this restaurant. And I'm like, I'm sorry, who are you exactly? And, you know, well, I'm a blogger, and what's your blog? And, you know, I go on their site.
And there's nothing.
You just kind of get used to looking at things, and, you know, if I go on their site and, you know, they've updated their blog once in the last 6 months and their mom left a comment at the bottom, I'm kind of like, okay, well, this person probably isn't that influential and doesn't have that much reach, so they're not going to bring value to my clients, so I have to politely decline, if you will. But
Right.
I mean, but that's, you know, either you have to take the time to do that research, or you find somebody who has those relationships via an agency or a consultant, whatever it might be, whose job it is to know who those influencers are.
Okay. Let's say you have a new hot stone package. How do you promote that? Using social media. It's your case study.
Have somebody come do it and take a video of it, stream it up.
Who's
Let
somebody?
everybody see it. Me. Live stream it.
Well, again, if
That's
it's a
one thing.
new package, you have to be consistent about it. You can't tweet about it or share it once and think there's going to be a response, because
Right.
that could be missed by most of your audience. It's got to be something that you're consistently talking about, whether and differently. So maybe you do share a video, maybe it's somebody's experience, maybe it's a tip from the like. There's a lot of ways to push it out, but you have to keep on showing the message in like a new way. But
Come up with a hashtag, like Beverly Wilshire
Okay,
has
that's a good
like
idea.
Beverly Wilshire Spa is their hashtag. So anytime they tweet anything about the spa, they use that hashtag, even though it's coming from the hotel's Twitter handle.
Mhm.
So you can differentiate. And if you're a salon or a spa and you have multiple treatments or products, you can come up with a hashtag for that specific product or service. And then if you had an influencer or a journalist or a writer or someone coming in to experience it, you ask them to also use that hashtag just to keep the momentum going.
And think of the longevity of whatever platform you're putting it on.
Mhm.
Because, you know, I just read some research that said Tumblr content has the longest shelf life of any platform.
Well, and that's an easy thing to do too. So if you have, you know, if you have your own spa or something, just make sure that your hashtag or your handle is very obvious on all your collateral. Because maybe, again, going back to a celebrity, maybe you have a celebrity that came in on the slide, had a treatment, that likes to be on Twitter, and later happens to have your handle. That's how they're going to do it. They're never going
Right.
to ask for it. So that's got to be obvious, just to carry the conversation. And
Alright, that's a great point. So where should it actually be? Like on the receipts, on like the program of services? This is actually a good test.
Well, I think
Go to
it-
go to
it-
spa and see if, like, should it be on the program of services? Or should it be?
I think
where
your
should it be?
handle absolutely should be, but I would say for an event, if you're doing a promotion, if you're having a special, say, and I was going to suggest, if you're launching something, do it for like a month at a time. You know, saying like during the month of September, we're going to focus on this new treatment that we have. And a lot of places are doing, you know, little pieces of collateral like this size or smaller, and have it on there. Have it, and especially if you have an event. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank God it was.
Yeah.
With the Wi-Fi passcode, with everything,
Very
like all
nice.
just like that.
When you have an event, put everything on the card, just like this one.
I went to the Food and Wine Festival, and they had these beautiful signs made at every one of the where all the chefs were cooking all the different this is no offense to anybody involved with the Food and Wine Festival, but there were no hashtags, and I thought, how are we not?
It's a missed opportunity.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, food pictures, galore, and how are people not, what's the hashtag?
Well, and for
you know?
spa especially, follow-up. I mean, I think this is the biggest missed opportunity. I mean, follow up with your people that came in on their social media accounts. You can find everybody's Twitter, so they don't come and don't ask them for their Twitter, and then all of a sudden you send them this tweet, we love seeing you. I mean, how amazing
Yeah.
is that, you
And,
know?
and on the Eventbrite, the Facebook, and the social media Los Angeles website, we put the hashtag for this event and all those. So
Yeah. Well,
we're
that's the
tweeting
same
it
thing
out.
with this. It's, we were saying, take a photo in front of the step and repeat, right? On Instagram, use one of the hashtags and you'll be entered to win. We have a massage to give away from the spa, which we'll choose later, so that's one way to enter.
And then actually was at a hotel over the weekend, and I got a coffee, and on the coffee there was a little paper coaster that actually had all the social media on it saying, as long as you're drinking, don't mind tweeting.
Yeah.
So it's another placement for it. All right, more questions?
I have a question.
Yes, can you stand up?
Sure.
So everyone can see you and get good video of you.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
My question is to address the new social networks that are coming out. What do you see as the next big social network that will be highly beneficial to beauty and luxury industries?
Good question.
I haven't seen, I think with social media, you gotta be careful too, because you don't wanna jump too much on the trend when you wanna really be focusing the messaging on multiple platforms that are really the meat of your messages. So even if something like Vine, for instance, okay?
just gonna
So
say that.
Vine, before Instagram video came out, Vine came out, which is an app, and it's a 6-second video loop as opposed to the 15-second video loop. We discovered very quickly it was great for making content, but it's not like people are following it in the same way that they're going to interact on Twitter and stuff. But it's a great way to create videos and then share it through the established streams like Twitter. So I think you got to be careful. So sometimes when there's fun new ways to create content, but you don't want to be pulled in like 20 directions trying to be on all these platforms and manage when you know that there's for the heart, the Instagrams, the Twitter, the Pinterest, where you can keep on looping people in and then adding elements of maybe something new you want to experiment with, but not putting too much concentration. That's just my 2 cents.
Because there were a bunch of brands that jumped on Vine like immediately, and then 2 months later, Instagram video came out, and it was like, oh, well now we have all these accounts and no one's using it, and so now all these brands have these accounts that are not being used on Vine. So, I mean, whenever I see something new that isn't part of, as Carrie just said, the sort of meat and heart of social media, meaning Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, I always, especially with my luxury clients, I'm like, let's not do anything for 3 months sometimes, and I'll just watch and see what happens and who are the people on this new social network. Because if it's not your audience, even if it's if it's beauty but you're focusing on high-end beauty, but the audience there is not high-end beauty, it's totally irrelevant to you. So you shouldn't just jump on that platform and put up a profile just because. And it goes back to that, be kind of selective and make sure that you're in the right place, because if you're going to put up a brand face, you need to know that you're going to have to generate interest and keep the content going, and so it's going to become another time commitment. So yeah, I tend to not jump on the social media train when all these like little apps and all this stuff comes out. I like to wait for a little bit and kind of see who's using it and how it could benefit my clients.
Is anyone using Google Plus?
Not anymore.
Or not.
I don't either, but only a couple token ones here and there, so I don't think I am. Okay, other questions? All right.
I was gonna say-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is it appropriate to use like a Hootsuite or something like that, where you're pushing, you're doing one message and it's going out, because we're a small company, and so like you said, it's like, be careful how many, places you choose to go, because we just don't have time to do all 4. So we'll do like Facebook, Twitter, we're starting Instagram, starting Pinterest. But is it appropriate to use those to, push across all of them?
Yes, I mean, I manage upwards of 7 to 10 different social media accounts, so I have to use those tools, otherwise I'd lose my mind. But I think what's important is that each social network has its own language.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that, the way you would say something on Facebook, you want to make sure that if you're pushing it to Twitter, it could be the same message, but you want to make sure that you're including a Twitter handle, a hashtag, those types of things, where maybe on Facebook that wouldn't be relevant, or on Pinterest it's not relevant. So you just want to make sure that, again, the crux of what you're saying is the same, and that's totally fine. But make sure that it's formatted for each platform.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, great. All right, time for last question. One last one. I have a question on the your design service. How do you make sure that your spas kind of will help promote that they use your design, or do you need to do that?
Well, we do, because we work with the spa consultants, the operator, the owner, and we have to develop a brand kind of concept if they don't already have one. And it's very important to be on brand, and we do a lot of research to be on brand. What makes that, we've worked with Spa, which was, I think this one was started as Spa. Very many times we work with a lot of different companies. A lot of Chi Spas in Asia, which are like all-inclusive treatment rooms that you don't leave the room. So it's, and what are they accentuating? What kind of experiential treatment are they promoting? What are they known for? What in the future do we need to allow for them to add on to? Because sometimes they'll have like a ice wall, that you'll have a cold wall of stone, to have it in the Chi Spa, to have a different kind of experience that you will, experience that in your room, and you don't have to go to an ice room to have that other experience. So basically it's a lot of discussion, it's a lot of ironing out of different amenities in the space. And then some properties want to have the party, and you were saying 6, we have upwards to 30 or 40, people in certain properties. So it's the communication. We were talking earlier that it's like, what do you need in your room to make it function? We need to design the function into the room so it's cohesive and it's seamless, so it doesn't take away from the guests' interaction with the room. You don't want the guests to see the functionality. You want the guests to be separate from
Right,
that.
but you can't put your Twitter handle on like a fountain.
No.
Okay.
As we leave the session, we haven't figured it out. If someone can figure that out for me, we haven't figured that out yet.
You can embroider it on the massage sheet.
It's very subtle, yeah.
But we were saying earlier that, images are such a shareable, highly
Right.
social media thing. It's like, if you have an ugly space, people are not going to share it. I mean,
No.
to
That's
me,
true.
a
Make sure the
designer
space is
very-
beautiful,
it has to
and
be
then
like
people
want
take
to
pictures.
share
Yeah,
it.
we do
Yeah.
have
When
a
they
lot
can.
of links through Pinterest. Pinterest is the
In the
most
public areas.
Yeah, Pinterest is the most viable for us because it's
Right.
images,
Right.
imagery.
Right. Okay. Great. Well, to the end of our time, thank you guys so much for your great questions, and let's give our panelists a big round of applause for sharing with us today.
I was gonna say, make sure you don't leave without a gift bag, because included in it is a $50 credit to use towards our spa.
Let's give an excellent special thanks to Carrie with the Beverly Wilson for our home today. Everybody,